Good afternoon. Again, now I'm going to speak about some social welfare policies on the state, national, and global levels. The first one, the policy on the state level that I would like to talk about is education. The education system on the state level is greatly flawed. Tax dollars go into the schools, and then therefore the schools that are in a better socioeconomic area receive higher monies. The schools in the state that are failing are because they're in areas that are more poverty stricken, more failing school districts, so therefore they get less money. Obviously, you then have a disparity in the education that these children are receiving. If you take St. Clair, Upper St. Clair, Fox Chapel, those school districts receive a lot more money per student than, say, Woodland Hills, Wilkinsburg, these districts. Obviously, the impact of this is the children are not getting the same education, that the same money is not being given regardless. The changes that could happen is that if you take a school district across the state, everybody gets the same amount per child. Some of the ways to implement that, in my opinion, would be something like, I know a lot of people are opponents of it. I don't know exactly how it would work, but something like a voucher system that says every child that goes to public school, the schools will be paid X amount of dollars. Then that child could pick whatever school he wants to go to, and that district still get that same amount of money. Now, there's a lot of opponents to that because that means kids who are in a failing district can take that same money and choose to go to a well-off district, so to speak. I'm not sure that I know the answers to how to fix this problem, but on the state level, the school system, the education system is greatly flawed. Even though people may not think of schools as a social welfare system, it is, because the schools that have better early education programs, better preventative programs in the schools, more teachers, obviously those schools are going to do better, or those students are going to do better. If those students do better, then maybe they won't end up in poverty, in jails, and so forth. Education is a big issue that is very inadequate in this state. On the national level right now, I think one of the big policy issues is around public safety. Obviously, we have seen on the news, we have seen in recent broadcasts, the public safety from the aspect of the police who unfairly, for whatever reason, in certain neighborhoods with certain people, are abusing power. The neighborhoods then are in fear of the police. You have a lot of disparity among the police departments, even here in Pittsburgh and nationally across the country. A police department that serves a community that's a certain race or a certain socioeconomic class, but yet still the police officers themselves are not of that same race or that same class. Obviously, that creates a friction. You have communities that live in fear, police that are afraid. This is not good for public safety. And if you go on beyond that on the national level, is the prison systems. The prison system itself is flawed. The court systems are flawed. It's based on money. If you take a look at the whole population of America versus the populations that are in prisons, greatly different. So on the national level, I think public safety is a big issue right now. The public is not safe. And that's a social welfare issue, because if you have crime and people aren't reporting it, people aren't taking care of it, it's building more crime. If you have just such a disparity in the way things are done, the fairness of the system. Obviously, those policies need change. The tax dollars that need to be going into public safety, going into the police departments, is it adequate? And then, of course, the impact of this is what we've seen recently, is life. People are dying because of the lack of public safety, or the inadequacy or the unfairness of the public safety system. So that's what I think is a big one on national policy. The last one on global is immigration, our policy on immigration. That again is another hot topic right now. It's on the news. It's people think it's an American issue, it's a United States issue. It's not. Immigration is a global issue. You have in other countries where, because of wars, you have people leaving their countries, so you have immigrating to other places. You have refugees who are seeking protection for different things. How do we treat them? How do we deal with them? How do we provide them the social, the basic civil rights that they deserve, and if they do make it to our shores? How do we ensure the social welfare programs are culturally competent and meet that? And then on the policy, our president right now is he tried to work with Congress, trying to make things happen. Didn't happen. He now is implementing executive orders, which we read in the book is part of policy on social welfare. It's not something new, but yet the backlash that he's getting because it's an unpopular subject is very different. So on the global policy is, of course, the immigration, the implementation of the executive actions and executive orders. The impact of our broken immigration system in America and across the world is just what we see. We have people that are not safe, people that are leaving their countries, people that are being arrested, money's going to jails and fences instead of to people. We have children coming into the country who are fleeing violence, we don't know what to do with. That's a social welfare issue, not a political issue in my opinion. So on the global front, that's my policy changes on immigration. I know these are three very big hot topics right now, or at least two of them are. The last one on education is a more local issue, a more state issue. All of these impact not only the social welfare system of today, but the social welfare system of the future. If we don't have good education, we're not going to have successful people in the future. If our kids aren't educated, they can't get good jobs. The poverty just goes on and on. If we don't have communities that are safe, then violence continues. If violence continues, it keeps escalating to more and more unsafe issues, more and more people dying, more and more drugs and violence in certain neighborhoods. The last one, immigration, if we don't address this in our country and across the world, and people keep moving and migrating and coming in, they're here, what do we do with them? So all three of these are not just about today, but about the future. So thank you. Thank you for your time.